I've spent most of my adult life chasing ghosts on the internet. 50,000 subscribers read my blog about cosmic anomalies, government cover-ups, and strange sky phenomena. That sounds impressive until you realize it pays just enough to keep my rent late instead of impossible. But last week, threads started cropping up across forums with the same phrase, the Silvergate. No explanation, just grainy pictures of a bright tear in the sky, glowing like a cracked mirror. At first, I figured it was viral marketing for some sci-fi show, but then the alert hit. My phone buzzed at 2:11 a.m., jolting me awake. I expected the usual weather warning. Instead, bold white text blared across a red banner. Emergency alert. Stay away from the Silvergate. Do not look directly at it. This is not a test. For a second, I thought I was still dreaming. The screen hummed, faint and low, like a power line vibrating inside my skull. My apartment smelled faintly of ozone, sharp as lightning strikes. I blinked at the words, half expecting them to vanish. They didn't. I screen captured it immediately, posted to my blog. My followers love early access. But as I typed, I got that weird coppery taste in my mouth like pennies pressed under my tongue. The longer I wrote, the stronger it grew, until it coated my teeth like blood. Any sane person would have stopped, but I couldn't. Compulsion, obsession, call it what you want. My brother used to tease me about it. Truth seeker. That's what I am. And even when the truth burns, I keep reaching. By the time I hit publish, comments were already rolling in. A reader from Toronto claimed the same alert popped up there. Another from Sao Paulo. Someone in Berlin said their phone screamed before flashing the warning. Screamed, like audio static laced with voices. I read that part twice. My screen flickered. The alert tone blared again. Louder this time, echoing through my phone and laptop simultaneously. Text repeated, identical, but now an extra line glitched in before vanishing. I only caught half of it, truth seeker. My stomach dropped. That's what my brother used to call me before he. No, I shook that thought off. I needed answers. I dialed Talia Frost, astrophysicist at the downtown observatory. She'd tolerated my questions before, rolling her eyes, but humoring me because clicks meant funding. Where? It's after 2 in the morning, she groaned. Check your instruments. Please. Something's happening in the sky. Satellites don't hum. Jackson, get some sleep. As she spoke, my laptop speakers bled faint static, threaded with a pulsing rhythm that matched my heartbeat. The copper taste deepened, metallic and oily. I paced the apartment, lights flickering overhead. Shadows bent slightly off true, like they belonged to different bodies. Talia, I just got an emergency alert. Not local, global. That woke her up. Read it. I repeated the words. She scoffed. Urban legend in progress. They probably hacked FEMA protocols. Same people who spread that don't look at the moon hoax last year. Then why is your voice stuttering? I asked. There was silence, then a sigh, because my spectrographs are glitching out. But equipment fails all the time. Don't connect dots that aren't there. Her denial rattled me. If the rational one's cracked, what did that mean for the rest of us? I refreshed my blog. Hundreds of comments. Screenshots from around the world, time-stamped within seconds of each other. Same alert, same wording. Someone wrote, it told me my name. Another, I heard my dad's voice. He's been dead 5 years. And the one that froze me, don't trust your reflections. Mine smiled back after I stopped. The post had gone viral. Normally that thrill would have kept me riding caffeine all night. But my chest felt heavy, lungs dragging air that tasted faintly like burning dust. My laptop pinged again. Not an alert this time. A live stream invite. Mira's song, 2 million followers. She must have seen my post. Her thumbnail showed a split screen. On one side, her wide-eyed influencer smile. On the other, a pale girl, Elise Moon, sketching something feverishly. Behind her, charcoal arcs curved into a jagged oval. My blood chilled. A crude drawing of the Silver Gate. I clicked join. My webcam lit without permission, green LED glaring at me. Jackson Ware. Mira beamed. The cosmic truth guy himself. My chat says you broke this story first. Not exactly how I'd phrase it, I muttered. Her viewers spammed the comments. Truth seeker. Truth seeker. Truth seeker. Thousands of lines, repeating the nickname. Where'd you hear that? I demanded. Mira glanced down. It's just the chat. They're weird tonight. Laggy. Some posts look old. Old. From the future. Maybe. My head pounded. The girl on her stream, Elise, looked up from her sketch pad. She stared straight at me, though she shouldn't have known my feed was live. You shouldn't have published it, she whispered. My throat went dry. What? Her pencil scratched fast, paper tearing. She flipped it around. 6 figures drawn in charcoal, bound together by black threads. One of them had my face. The chat erupted. Emojis. Screaming. Warnings. Then all our devices blared the emergency tone again, deafening this time, like a foghorn inside my skull. Text scrolled across Myra's stream overlay without anyone typing. Do not look directly at the gate. This is not a test. Elise screamed. Her sketch bled black ink, soaking the page though no pen touched it. I ripped my phone from the charger. The screen pulsed faintly with silver light, deeper than pixels, like it opened into something behind the glass. The humming rose until the ceiling bulb burst, showering sparks. My blog notifications dinged nonstop. Every refresh brought new screenshots. Same alert, same warning, global. But mine still pulsed with that glitched word burned into the background static, truth seeker. And the worst part, when I closed my laptop, the humming didn't stop. The observatory had always been my sanctuary. Clean lines of data, predictable math, a sky that obeyed laws whether we understood them or not. Tonight, though, the monitors felt wrong before I even touched them. A faint vibration rattled through the desk, subtle but steady, like a subwoofer buried in the floor. When Jackson were called, I almost laughed at his urgency. He's been pestering me for years with cosmic conspiracy theories. But when he recited the emergency alert, something in his tone stuck. Not fear, conviction. And conviction from Jackson is dangerous. I hung up, trying to ignore how my breath came shorter than usual. My lab smelled faintly metallic, sharp as rusting wires, though the vents hissed clean air. Then my main spectrograph monitor blinked. For a second, the numbers froze. When they resumed, the data spelled a word. I knew because my brain recognized it before I admitted it. Stardust. That was my nickname, given by my mentor when I was a starry-eyed graduate student. He'd been dead for 5 years. I rubbed my eyes, tried to force the equations back into logic. But every blink left afterimages, thin arcs of color bending beyond the visible spectrum. Some hues stabbed at my retinas, nameless shades that made me nauseous. The emergency tone blared, not from my phone, but from the observatory's built-in weather alert system. The speaker screeched before flattening into the now familiar robotic cadence. Emergency alert. Stay away from the Silver Gate. Do not look directly at it. This is not a test. The words scrolled across the corner of my monitor too, embedded into the astronomy software. Impossible. That system isn't even connected to FEMA protocols. I froze, not because of the alert itself, but because the text pulsed in rhythm with my heartbeat. Every flash matched the thud in my chest. I tried procedure. I ran diagnostics. Power supply, normal. Network, clean. Instruments, calibrated. Nothing explained why the numbers rearranged themselves into childhood nicknames. I pulled my phone out, half expecting the same alert. Instead, the screen showed static for a breathless second before stabilizing. My background photo warped, shifting into a smear of silver light. The rules whispered through my mind, even though I'd only heard them secondhand from Jackson. Do not look directly at the gate. I squeezed my eyes shut against the glow, even though it was only digital. When I opened them again, the image was gone. Just my usual lock screen. Get it together, I whispered. But my hands were trembling, fingertips icy. I slammed them against the desk to feel something solid. The impact echoed louder than it should have, as if the walls themselves were thinner. The monitors flickered again. This time, the spectrograph didn't show numbers at all. Instead, it mapped constellations I didn't recognize. Stars bent into impossible curves, spiraling inward toward a jagged oval. The Silver Gate. I leaned back while rising in my throat. My rational mind screamed. Pareidolia, glitch, human tendency to see patterns where none exist. But my skin knew better. Every hair along my arms stood on end, as if the data itself exhaled against me. Another alert slammed through the speakers. Louder, distorted. The same words, but the final line glitched midstream. Do not look directly at the gate. This is not a test. Do not stay. The voice cut off in static. I grabbed the phone again, meaning to text Kieran Vale. He'd handled security during meteor showers before, knew how to coordinate crowds. If this escalated, we'd need evacuation protocols. Before I typed, the phone vibrated violently in my hand. Text appeared without my input. Stardust, why won't you listen? My throat closed. That wasn't FEMA. That wasn't anyone living. I dropped the phone. It clattered to the floor, buzzing against the tile like something alive. I backed toward the observatory's glass viewing dome. Outside, the sky churned with high-altitude clouds. They rippled unnaturally, like water stirred from beneath. I forced myself to breathe. Procedure again. Rational steps. Observe, record, verify. I grabbed a notebook, wrote down everything. Times, glitches, exact wording of alerts. Handwriting steadied me. Ink on paper couldn't hum, couldn't pulse. But when I glanced back, the words I'd just written twisted on the page. The latest alert, the one that contradicted itself, melted under my pen strokes. What I had written: do not look directly at the gate. Do not cover it. Do not turn away. What the paper showed instead: obey, obey, obey. I tore the page out, crushed it, shoved it into my pocket. If the corruption spread even here, then documentation wasn't safety. It was infection. The hum deepened. This time it came not from the machines, but from the air itself, vibrating my ribs. It smelled of ozone and burnt dust. The rules weren't just instructions. They were warnings disguised as safety nets. Do not look. Do not respond. Yet every alert felt like bait, tempting me to do the opposite. And every time I resisted, the phenomena pressed harder. The flaw in me, the part one never admitted, was that I needed certainty, needed answers. Jackson sought truth out of obsession. I sought truth out of terror. Because if the universe could lie, then nothing held. The monitors brightened. Equations cascaded faster than I could read. Some symbols I recognized, others I didn't. My mind tried to translate them, but halfway through my vision blurred, eyes watering. The symbols hurt to perceive, stabbing into the base of my skull like migraines given form. I stumbled back, knocking into the console. Keys pressed against my palms. They felt soft, too soft, like pressing against flesh instead of plastic. I yanked my hands away, gagging. Another alert slammed across every device at once. Phone, monitor, weather radio. Emergency alert. Stay away from the Silver Gate. Do not look directly at it. Do not cover it. Do not turn away. This is not a test. My blood iced. The rule had changed, contradicted itself, a trap tightening. I snatched the phone, desperate to hear another human voice. Dialed Kieran. His line clicked open after one ring. Static filled my ear. Then, faint beneath it, a voice I hadn't heard in years. My mentor, dead 5 years. "Stardust," he said softly. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" I screamed and hurled the phone across the room. It struck the glass dome with a crack that reverberated too long, like the sky itself answering. When the echo faded, the observatory was silent. Too silent. Even the hum had paused, as if listening. And in that stillness, I realized something that made my heart stop. The alerts weren't spreading across systems. The alerts were spreading across people. The first time I saw the phrase Silvergate, it wasn't on an alert. It was in my comments section. I've been running a Q&A stream. Nothing heavy. My followers spammed the usual, rate my fit, react to my playlist, Mira, what skincare do you use? Then one user posted, "Show us the Silvergate." I laughed it off. Internet trolls always fish for reactions. But then another posted it. Then another. And within minutes, the chat filled with nothing else. My ring light flickered just once. The air smelled faintly scorched, like a curling iron left plugged in too long. I closed that stream early. Told myself it was bots. But the word followed me. DMs, hashtags, fan edits. My follower count spiked in a way I hadn't seen since my first viral dance collab. People were obsessed, and I couldn't ignore obsession. The real break came when someone tagged me in a grainy TikTok of a girl drawing frantic circles in charcoal. Caption, hashtag Silvergate Visionary. That's how I found Elise. She was pale, jittery, looked maybe 20. The video showed her scribbling black arcs into a rough oval. People joked it looked like a portal. But the part that made my stomach knot, she wasn't looking at the paper. She stared off screen, eyes wide, while her hand moved on its own. I DM'd her, offered exposure. She didn't answer. So I did what I always do. I showed up. Her dorm room reeked of paint thinner and damp canvas. Sketches plastered the walls. Ovals, spirals, jagged halos of black. My camera picked up the mess instantly. The algorithm loves chaos. "Hey guys," I said into the lens, voice bubbly though my skin crawled. "Meet Elise Moon, the girl who's literally seeing the future." Elise flinched. I didn't agree to. "Relax," I whispered. "You'll thank me later. This is history." We went live. Within minutes, 50,000 people tuned in. Comments exploded. Silvergate, Silvergate, Silvergate. Elise's hand moved across fresh paper, sketching before my viewers' eyes. Charcoal snapped in her grip. She didn't blink. I leaned toward the camera. "Okay, chat, she's never met me before, right? But look," I gestured. "Elise, describe what you see." Her gaze shifted, not at me, at the lens. "There are 6 of you," she whispered. "Threads tie you together. You can't cut them." Chat went feral. Emojis, disbelief, copy-pastes. 6 anchors, 6 anchors, 6 anchors. My phone buzzed in my lap. A push alert. I glanced down. "Emergency alert. Stay away from the Silvergate. Do not look directly at it. This is not a test." Standard now, I thought. Everyone had seen it. But then a second line scrolled beneath, visible only on my screen. "Mira, keep streaming." My mouth went dry. I angled the phone away from Elise, away from my viewers. Heart hammering. "My name." The chat spammed. "Read it out loud. Show us. Show us." I forced a laugh. Glitchy push alerts, guys. Nothing new. But the device hummed, faint as a trapped bee. My screen glowed silver around the edges, depth stretching deeper than glass. I swear I saw movement inside it, shadows writhing. Elise's pencil screeched across paper. She looked up at me suddenly, pupils blown wide. "It's speaking through you." I swallowed hard. "What is?" She shook her head. "The gate. It likes your voice. It likes your reach." The chat roared approval, half thinking it was a bit. "The gate is real. Mira is chosen." I plastered on a smile, but my skin prickled like ants crawling. My flaw, my addiction to the stream, one. I couldn't cut it off. Not when numbers climbed past 500,000. The emergency tone blared. Not from my phone this time. From my laptop, my smart speaker, even the ring light itself buzzing faintly. Do not approach. Do not respond to voices beyond. Do not look directly. The chat captured it instantly. Screenshots flooded Twitter before I blinked. Then came the glitch. The alert overlay appeared across my stream itself. Words no one had coded, scrolling in perfect sync. Thank you for connecting. Stay live. Okay. Nope. I muttered, fumbling with settings. But the overlay wasn't in my software. It was burned into the feed. Turn it off, Elise begged. Please. It's feeding. I stared at the viewer count. 523,000. Rising. Each tick felt like pressure in my chest, like lungs filling with someone else's breath. A thought stabbed through my panic. This engagement rate is insane. Sponsors would kill for numbers like this. I even pictured the email subject lines. Brand partnership opportunity, historic reach. My brain tried to package terror into CPM and impressions. And then my analytics dashboard glitched. The word engagement stretched, letters splitting into geometric symbols. Beneath it, a new metric appeared. Anchors, 523,000. The copper taste of pennies filled my mouth. The chat began posting sentences that didn't make sense. Geometry instead of words. Strings of symbols I couldn't read. But some viewers swore they could. Claimed the patterns whispered their names. I tried to play it off. All right, internet, you're scaring yourselves. Cute bit. But if this is a hack, props on production value. The ring light flared. Heat seared my face. For a split second, my reflection in the webcam smiled wider than I did. I slapped a hand over the lens. The hum deepened, thrumming through the desk. Ozone filled the air. Another alert buzzed my phone. This one didn't bother with rules. Just a single line. Do not stop. Every viewer is another anchor. I whispered it aloud before I realized what I was doing. Elise whimpered. Chat went insane. Another anchor. More anchors. We are the gate. Something in me cracked. The influencer instinct, the part of me that measures everything in views and engagement, fought with the primal terror in my gut. I could end it now, shut down the stream, or ride it higher than anything I'd ever done. The smell of burnt dust coated my tongue. Elise grabbed my arm, nails digging in. They're not your fans, she hissed. They're the gate's eyes. I looked at the screen. 500,000 live watchers. But the usernames scrolling by weren't all human. Some were gibberish, repeating in geometric loops. Others looked familiar. My grandmother's name, my childhood neighbor, even one that spelled my own. And every so often, the chat froze mid-scroll, long enough for one phrase to burn itself across the feed. Keep streaming. The words pulsed silver. I leaned close to the mic, voice trembling despite the smile, stretching my face. Okay guys, I whispered. Something's wrong with the alerts. If you're seeing this, screenshot everything. Share it. This isn't a test. My throat clenched around the last line, because I hadn't chosen it. The words felt fed into me, pressed against my vocal cords by something unseen. And when I swallowed, the copper taste returned, thick, metallic, impossible to ignore. The first siren cut through the city just as my radio crackled alive. Not a clean tone, jagged static, like glass dragged over pavement. Veil status. Nolan's voice, strained through layers of interference. West sector's locked down. Barricades are up. I scan the intersection, rows of SUVs, flashing hazard lights, civilians corralled behind tape. The air smelled like wet metal, sharp and sour, though rain hadn't touched asphalt in weeks. I checked my watch. The second hand jerked, stuttered, then skipped backward. My gut tightened. The phone in my vest vibrated. The alert lit the screen. Emergency alert. Stay away from the silver gate. Do not look directly at it. Do not approach within 5 miles. This is not a test. I'd seen it already, but something was new. A map overlay appeared. My sector glowed red, not yellow. Then another line scrolled beneath. Captain Vale, hold position. The gate requires guardians. The device throbbed with a low hum, steady as a heartbeat. Vale. Nolan again, louder. Copy. My throat went dry. I didn't repeat the words on the screen. My men didn't need that. I turned to Rodriguez, my second in command. His eyes flicked toward the barricade. Sir, people keep trying to leave east. It's pulling them that way. East, toward the river, toward where the glow shimmered faintly against the horizon, silver bleeding through smog like moonlight bent wrong. Hold them west. No one goes closer. He nodded, but his jaw worked like he wanted to argue. The crowd murmured, restless. One woman pressed against the tape, clutching her daughter. It's safer by the river, she shouted. The alerts say stay east. That's not. I froze. Her phone screen glowed in her hand, and she was right. I could read it from here. Safe zone east. Proceed immediately. I yanked my phone out again. Mine still said west. Contradictions, just like Talia warned. Rodriguez, I said low. Check yours. He pulled his out, hands trembling. His screen lit up. Vale, listen to us. Bring them east. He stared at me, face pale. Sir, use my name. The hum in my vest grew louder, vibrating against my ribs. Shut it off, I snapped. He hesitated. Now. He powered down the device with shaking fingers. But the screen lingered silver for a full 5 seconds before finally dying. A scream cut across the barricade. Not panic, excitement. A teenager held his phone high, live streaming the contradictory alert. Look guys, east is the safe zone. He spun, catching the crowd's reaction. Comments scrolled so fast the feed looked like static. Others followed his lead, broadcasting their own versions. Some showed east, some west, some just repeated my name. Captain Vale, Captain Vale, Captain Vale. The contradiction was spreading, viral, before I could shout an order. Another scream, this time real. Someone pointed upward. For a moment, I thought the sky itself was tearing open. The clouds pulsed silver, concentric rings spiraling outward. I blinked, and it looked like haze, but my ears rang with a tone I couldn't shake. Another radio burst. This one wasn't Nolan. Vale. The voice rasped, distorted. Captain, we're waiting. My stomach clenched. I knew that voice. Corporal Hensley, killed 2 years ago outside Kandahar. Static swallowed his name before I could reply. I rubbed my eyes, forcing breath through tight lungs. It's the gate. It's using memory. Keep procedure. Anchor reality. I barked to the line. Eyes on me. Nobody breaks formation. But civilians pressed harder. A boy climbed the tape, his phone clutched like a compass. It's telling me to go. It's calling. Rodriguez yanked him down. The boy screamed like we'd ripped him from his mother. My phone buzzed again, even though I'd stuffed it deep in my vest. I didn't look this time. Couldn't. The hum behind my ribs said enough. A low roar built around us. Not wind, not traffic, something denser like pressure in the ears before a plane nosedives. The air thickened. Breathing felt like sucking through water. Rodriguez coughed. Sir. I gritted my teeth. Masks on, tight seals. We pulled respirators down, but the heaviness clung inside the mask anyway. The taste of iron coated my tongue. Then the second alert rolled across the city. Every phone, every radio, every speaker in perfect unison. Do not respond to voices from beyond. Do not cover reflective surfaces. If you hear your name, do not reply. The civilians froze. Some cried. Others muttered prayers. And then, softly from the barricade, Kieran. I turned. The little girl, the one clutched by her mother, stared straight at me. Her lips hadn't moved. The voice came again. "We're waiting, Captain." Hensley's voice, then Martinez, then O'Neill. My dead squad, one after the other, voices layering, crowding the night air. "Shut it out," I muttered, gripping my rifle until my knuckles burned. "They're not real." But when I blinked, I saw them, just for a second, standing in formation beyond the barricade. Gear intact, eyes hollow silver. Waiting. The mother screamed, dragging her daughter back. I raised my weapon. My men followed, but the sights warped, the barrel softening like paper between my hands. When I pulled the trigger, it folded in half like an origami crane. The crane fluttered upward, wings sharp as razors, and whispered in a voice like rushing static. "This way, Captain." It turned east, toward the glow. My knees nearly buckled. Nolan's voice cut back into my ear, desperate. "Vale, do not move east. Hold position. Do you copy?" I wanted to answer, but the radio bled into the squad voices again. "Come on, Captain. You left us once. Don't leave us twice." My men looked at me, waiting for orders. Civilians surged, live streams still rolling, contradictory alerts flashing across their feeds. East, west, silver words my men couldn't parse, but the internet devoured. I forced my lungs to work, fought through the copper taste, the roar, the endless hum. "Hold the line," I shouted, voice cracking. "Nobody moves east. That's an order." For a second, they listened. The crowd faltered. My men steadied. But then every phone in sight lit silver. And in one voice, in perfect unison, the alerts read aloud through every stream, every speaker, every device. "Welcome home, Captain." The glow on the horizon pulsed, closer now, breathing with my own chest. And I realized with bone-deep certainty, the gate wasn't waiting for us to approach. It was expanding. They call me sensitive. Professors, doctors, even strangers who see me sketching with my eyes half closed. I always hated that word. It makes it sound fragile, like a candle in wind. But when I touched charcoal tonight, my hand moved before my thoughts. And what came out wasn't fragile at all. It was a gate. The room stank of turpentine and burnt dust, my walls plastered with half-finished spirals. Myra's stream had left the camera on me too long. I still saw the red haze of its record light when I shut my eyes. Her followers ate it up, me whispering things I didn't understand. 6 threads, 6 faces. I meant to stay anonymous. Instead, I'm trending. The buzz in my head rose again, low and metallic. Not tinnitus, something bigger like city power lines vibrating against my skull. I pressed fingers to my temples, but it hummed right through bone. My phone lit. Another alert. Emergency alert. Stay away from the Silver Gate. Do not approach. Do not look directly. Do not listen to voices from beyond. The words scrolled steady, but then my mother's voice slid from the speaker. "Elise, little moon, you're awake now." I dropped the phone. It landed face up, light glowing silver. My chest squeezed. My mother had been gone for 8 years. "No," I whispered, "you're not real." The device pulsed once like a heartbeat. I forced myself back to the sketch. The charcoal scratched paper, spirals looping tighter. Every stroke pressed against my fingertips like liquid starlight, hot and cold at once, soaking through skin. When I looked down, lines shimmered as though drawn in mercury. The gate widened on paper, and behind it, I glimpsed the curve of a face. The hum deepened. My desk lamp flickered, washing the room in pulses of white. Shadows bent the wrong way, curling toward the sketch like moths to flame. Another alert chimed. "Cover all reflective surfaces." But I taped every mirror days ago. Still, Silver rippled across my window pane. My own reflection stared back with wide, black eyes, mouth opening before mine did. "Come home, little moon." I shoved my chair back. My spine hit canvas. The smell of paint thinner choked me. I fumbled for my laptop, my safe zone. Notes, diagrams, therapy prompts. I opened a blank document, started typing. They're rules. But the rules don't protect. They pull you closer. The letters rearranged as I wrote. Not English anymore. Symbols curved into constellations, then into words again. "You already belong." The cursor blinked, patient. I slammed the lid shut. The phone buzzed again on the floor. I didn't want to look, but my eyes betrayed me. "Do not respond to voices from beyond." My mother's laugh spilled through the speaker. Gentle, warm. A laugh I hadn't heard since she tucked me in on my 16th birthday. "Elise, you're special. You can hold it open for us." My throat tightened. "I'm not your anchor." The air thickened. My hair lifted, tugged sideways as if gravity had tilted 30 degrees. Charcoal rolled across the desk, leaving streaks like shooting stars. I grabbed my sketchbook, flipped through. Every page different, but all the same. Black ovals bleeding light. Except the last. The last showed 6 figures linked by threads, dissolving into silver dust. One was me. Another was Mira. The rest I didn't recognize, but their faces were already seared into my brain. My phone vibrated. Another alert. "If you hear your name, do not reply." "Elise," my mother's voice whispered. "Say it back, please." The phone shook across the floor toward me. I kicked it under the bed. Myra's phone buzzed on the dresser, still angled at me. I hadn't realized she'd left the stream live. Hundreds of thousands of people were watching. My hand twitched. Charcoal slid between my fingers. Without my consent, I leaned forward and scrawled across fresh paper. Letters jagged, desperate. "Do not reply." The words burned black on the page. But when I glanced at the screen, the stream had already mirrored it. Letters glowing silver, crawling across chat like a pinned message. Comments exploded. "Screenshot it. Rule confirmed. Do not reply." My chest heaved. I hadn't meant to share it, but the gate had used me, used my hand. My laptop chimed. Without opening it, I heard keys typing themselves. My own voice whispered through the speaker. "You can't cut the threads." My nails dug into my arms. "Stop it. Stop using me." The hum spiked into a shriek. For a moment, I swore the whole room bent inward, like walls sucked toward a single vanishing point. My sketches peeled from plaster, fluttering midair before pinning themselves in a circle around me. The ovals lined up perfectly, forming a tunnel of black mouths. The smell of ozone burned my nostrils. I staggered back. The stream chat froze. Then, one by one, usernames shifted into my mother's name, repeating, "Little Moon, Little Moon, Little Moon." Another alert, sharper, louder, vibrating the whole floor. The gate chooses its anchors. The letters smeared, ran like wet ink, then reformed into a single word. "Moon." I screamed, throat raw. "I won't answer you." The hum dropped. Silence pressed in. For a moment, I thought I'd won. Then the phone under my bed rang like an old landline, sharp and shrill. My skin crawled. I crouched, dragged it out. The screen glowed silver, my mother's contact photo staring back. I threw it at the wall. The glass shattered. The pieces didn't fall. They hovered, each shard holding a slice of her face. Eyes, lips, teeth. All of them whispering, "Little Moon." I backed into the circle of sketches, breath heaving, tears burning hot. The alerts chimed again across every shard. "Welcome home, Moon." I slammed my palms over my ears, but the words weren't sound anymore. They were inside my blood, running cold, pulling me sideways. My sketchbook snapped open by itself. Charcoal scraped across the page, no hand guiding it. Lines spiraled faster and faster until they carved a hole through paper. And from that hole, light spilled out, silver and alive. The console shuddered beneath my hands. At first I thought it was the caffeine, too many cups, too little sleep, but then the keys rippled under my fingertips like soft tissue. I yanked my hands back. The buttons settled, plastic again, but the warmth clung to my skin. The city communications hub hummed with power, servers stacked in racks that glowed faint blue. This room was supposed to be the anchor of order. My voice was safety. My flaw was thinking I could always control that. But the alerts weren't mine anymore. Read, update. Kieran's voice burst over the secure channel, jagged with static. Still holding, elite. On my monitor, feeds from every district showed chaos. Barricades bent, civilians scattering, phones glowing silver. Streams overlapped. One teenager shouting safe east, while another screamed stay west. The contradictions weren't just spreading, they were breeding. I typed a manual override command. The console whined, resisting. Then words formed without my touch. Welcome home, father. My throat tightened. I hadn't heard that word in years. Not since my son's accident. No, I muttered. You're not him. But the system pulsed like a heartbeat. Keys clicked on their own. Fix this, Daddy. The copper taste filled my mouth. I slammed the broadcast mute. Screens flickered, but the messages kept flowing anyway. An alert tone blared. Not mine. This one dragged lower, almost organic. Do not cover reflective surfaces. If you hear your name, do not reply. Do not stop broadcasting. I froze. That last line was new. Worse, contradictory. Hours ago, the alert told people to avoid signals, cover mirrors, cut channels. Now it told them to keep going. The system was feeding them both poison and antidote. The technicians at nearby stations stared, pale, in monitor light. One whispered, "It's changing the rules." Before I could respond, my headset filled with voices. Not one, many, layered. Nolan, Nolan. I ripped the headset off. The voices seeped from the speakers, coaxing. My son's voice braided through them. Fix this, Daddy. I gripped the console, forcing procedure into my head. Anchor, override, redirect. I typed blind codes, desperate. The screen responded, but the words twisted midline. Your voice is our voice. The room shook. The tremor came from the servers themselves, humming deeper, vibrating the floor. Kieran again, desperate. The alerts are turning people east. Half my sectors live streaming contradictions. I opened my mouth to answer, but the console spoke for me. My mic light glowed red, hot against my lip. My voice went out on every channel, but not my words. Do not resist. The gate chooses its anchors. I slapped the mic switch off. My men stared. That wasn't me, I rasped. One tech whispered, "Then who was it?" The hum rose. Monitors blurred silver, text crawling like worms. Myra's stream flickered on screen. 500,000 viewers repeating Elise's charcoal rules. Do not reply. Her hand shook as if pulled. I knew then, the gate wasn't just watching us. It was riding through us. My console beeped. Another alert cued itself. I didn't dare read it, but my eyes dragged down anyway. The system requires sacrifice. Your voice will lead them home. No, I whispered. Not my voice. Not again. The speakers crackled, warm as breath. My son's tone, sweet, pleading. Please, Daddy, say it for me. The technician stared, some crying. One pressed a hand over her mouth, whispering a prayer. I reached for the main breaker, hands shaking. If I killed power, maybe we'd cut it off. The console anticipated me. Buttons softened, gripping my fingertips like wet skin. I yanked back. The breaker handle drooped like wax, impossible to grasp. The air smelled of ozone and burning wires. Read. Kieran's voice again, ragged. Tell me you've got control. I wanted to tell him the truth, that we'd lost it. But before I could, the console forced the mic open again. Welcome to the network. My own voice, but twisted doubled. The sound filled every speaker, probably across the city, maybe farther. I slammed both fists on the keys. Metal bent beneath me, warm and pulsing. Words scrawled across the screen, bold, viral ready, impossible to look away. Your voice is our voice. The line repeated across every monitor in sync, multiplying like a chant. My chest heaved. The temptation was sharp. If I stopped resisting, if I let it speak through me, maybe the chaos would settle. Maybe people would listen. And for one shattering moment, I wanted that. My son's ghost was right. I could save them if I just surrendered. But deep down I knew that was the trap. I dug the pin from my badge into my palm. Focus, anchor, remember. But the monitors shifted, showing live feeds not of the city, but of me. My own face multiplied, whispering words I hadn't said. Fix this, Daddy. Fix this, Daddy. Fix this, Daddy. My knees buckled. I crawled back to the console, tears burning. My son's face flickered through the static, small and fragile, eyes hollow silver. You can save them, he whispered. Just don't stop. The technicians waited. My voice was still their compass. And that was the horror. The gate didn't just want to break me. It wanted to make me necessary. The console lit silver. Another message cued itself. Final protocol. Resistance is insignificant. Thank you for connecting. My thumb hovered over the mic switch. If I pressed it, the words would go global. If I didn't, the console would force me. The hum deepened, vibrating my chest, pulling my voice up like a puppet string. I whispered, half to myself, half to the system, not my voice. Not again. And then the lights flickered, every monitor bleeding silver, as the alert forced itself into the queue. The library lights hummed overhead, flickering in uneven intervals like a heartbeat I couldn't trust. The air smelled of dust and ozone, metallic at the edges, as though the shells themselves had been wired into some cosmic circuit. I should have left when the first alert told us not to look at the Silver Gate. I should have stopped typing when my blog began to answer me back. But I didn't. That's my flaw. I can't stop hunting the truth, even when it gnaws at me. Now the truth was gnawing literally. I stared down at the laptop screen, when my fingers had just stopped moving. The words there weren't mine. The truth seeker will document our arrival. I hadn't typed that. I knew I hadn't, but the keys were warm, like they wanted me to keep going. My phone vibrated beside me, another emergency alert buzzing through. I braced myself because the tones weren't mechanical anymore. They dragged low, like an animal's growl forced through a speaker. Alert! Do not look directly at the gate. Do not listen to voices from beyond. Document only what you are told. That last line was new. It wasn't a warning, it was a command. I wiped my palms against my jeans, copper taste rising in my mouth like I'd been chewing coins. I opened a new draft, fingers trembling. This was what my followers wanted. This was what I'd built my life around. Documenting the impossible, telling the stories no one else would. But when the words filled the page, they weren't mine. Welcome, readers. The truth seeker is our scribe. The sentence posted itself before I could stop it. On my blog, live. The hum of the lights deepened, and for a second, the rows of books shifted. Covers re-inked themselves, titles crawling. Do not reply. Do not stop. Do not trust. I pushed away from the desk, pulse hammering. My flaw had finally betrayed me. By chasing the truth, I'd become its mouthpiece. Jackson. Myra's voice came faint over my phone, her live stream bleeding static. I hadn't answered her last call, but she'd stayed connected. Your blog's updating. People think it's real-time prophecy. Viewer counts going insane. I swallowed hard. It's not me, Mira. The system's writing through me. She cursed under her breath, then shut it down. I glanced at the laptop. The screen flickered silver, words scrolling like worms. Do not shut it down. We need them connected. Each viewer is an anchor. I whispered, it knows you're streaming. Her laugh was thin, scared. 2 million people watching now. Jackson, I can't. Her voice cut off. The stream glitched. For a fraction of a second, I saw something behind her, something moving in the depth of her phone screen, shapes that weren't human. Then the library lights snapped to darkness. The hum didn't stop. It just sank lower, vibrating my ribs. I pulled out my notebook, desperate for something analog, something safe. I wrote the rules down as best I remembered. Don't look directly at the gate. Don't approach within 5 miles. Don't listen to voices from beyond. Cover reflective surfaces. If you hear your name, don't respond. But the ink bled as I wrote. The rules twisted on the page. Do not cover reflective surfaces. Do not stop documenting. Respond if called. My stomach dropped. The alerts weren't just contradicting each other. They were rewriting the warnings that once gave me faith in truth itself. If I couldn't trust the rules, if I couldn't trust the words, then what was I? The copper taste thickened, metallic saliva burning my tongue. I spit onto the floor, and it gleamed faint silver under the emergency light. The laptop chimed again. Another auto post. Truth Seeker is live. Recording has begun. I slammed it shut, but the screen still glowed, words leaking through the seam like light through a wound. From the corner of my eye, the shelves twisted again. Spines melted into endless silver lines. Out of instinct, I looked straight on and froze. Every book bore the same title now, Welcome to the Network. The emergency alert tone screamed again, louder this time. My phone vibrated against the desk. I didn't want to look. I knew it would be another demand, but my eyes dragged down anyway. Alert. Thank you for documenting. Do not interfere. This is not a test. For the first time, the words bled through the device into the air itself, letters hanging like smoke. My chest heaved. I wanted to smash the phone, to hurl the laptop into the wall. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't matter. I was the flaw. I had spent my life connecting people to impossible truths. The gate had simply turned that into a job description. Jackson, Myra's voice bled through the static again. They're quoting your blog in the comments. Half my viewers think you're the only reliable source now. I gripped the notebook, its ink still crawling. Then we're already finished. A pause. Then Mira whispered, unless you lie. The words cut through me. Me, the investigator, the one who never lied, never softened the truth. My entire identity was built on exposing what others buried. And yet, for a heartbeat, I wanted to agree. What if I could undo this? What if breaking my integrity was the only way to fight back? The shelves rattled like teeth grinding. My laptop screen popped open on its own, light spilling like a wound reopening. The words scrolled, faster now. Truth Seeker must not lie. It knew my flaw, my temptation, my hesitation, and it had already barred the exit. I felt the pressure of eyes, though the library was empty. Not just eyes, stars, watching, waiting. I swallowed, my mouth metallic, every breath thick as fog. Then maybe I'm done being your seeker. The hum deepened, angry, shaking dust loose from the rafters. I scribbled across the notebook page in jagged letters, forcing myself to scrawl what they couldn't control. Don't trust this post. And then, almost instantly, the lights died completely. The shelves groaned. My phone vibrated until it cracked against the desk. The laptop screamed with that animal tone alert. Through the darkness, silver light pulsed. Heartbeat rhythm. Not mine. Not human. And in that glow, Every book spine split open like mouths whispering in unison. Truth seeker, welcome home. The charcoal wouldn't leave my hand. I tried to set it down, but my fingers cramped, knuckles aching as though the bone itself had fused to the stick. Every mark I made came fast, unthinking, scrawls leaping across the paper as if my wrist was only the conduit. My dorm smelled like turpentine and damp earth, except I hadn't opened my paints. I hadn't cracked the window either, but the air moved anyway, thick and sweet like overripe fruit. I told myself I wasn't scared. That was my flaw, thinking the visions made me special, chosen, stronger than the rest. That immunity was a lie, but I clung to it. My phone vibrated across the desk. Another alert. The sound no longer resembled an alarm. It was wetter now, almost like lungs sucking for air. Alert. Do not approach the gate. Do not cover your mirrors. Do not reject the call. I stared at the screen. Do not reject the call. That wasn't protection. That was an invitation. The charcoal jerked across the page, scratching those words before I realized I'd copied them down. My hand cramped, blood prickling under my skin. I tasted starlight. Cold, metallic, sharp as needles. I gagged, swallowing it back. Stop, I whispered, tugging at my fingers. I'm not your puppet. But the voice that answered wasn't mine. It wasn't even external. It came from inside, filling my chest, my throat. Come home, little moon. My mother's voice. Dead 10 years, soft as bedtime, warm as lullabies. I dropped the charcoal. My hand shook, smudges of black streaking my wrists. No, I whispered. Not you. Not this way. The room trembled. Canvases stacked in the corner flipped open, blank paper crawling with images I hadn't drawn. Silver arches, pulsing light, faces half dissolved. The phone buzzed again. Another alert, overlaying the last, both screaming until the tones braided. Alert. If you hear your name, respond immediately. If you refuse, others will answer for you. My stomach dropped. The rules weren't just changing, they were canceling each other. Don't reply. Reply. Cover mirrors. Don't cover. Every contradiction shredded the idea that rules could protect me. My so-called immunity cracked with them. The charcoal rolled across the floor. My hand twitched toward it without my permission. On Myra's stream, millions watched me scribble. Strangers flooded the chat with my handwriting, copying each twisted command. They thought I was warning them, but I wasn't. I was transmitting. The desk lamp flared silver, blinding me. When my sight returned, the reflection in its metal base wasn't me. It was her, my mother, hair falling loose across her cheek, eyes bright, hungry, endless. Elise, she said, voice warm. Come home. I bit my lip until I tasted blood. The copper mixed with starlight, bittersweet, nauseating. You're not her, I whispered. You're not. But the reflection tilted its head, smiling. Then why does it hurt like her? The emergency tone screamed again, sharp enough to split my skull. The phone lit with another command. Alert, cover your ears. Do not cover your ears. Listen closely. The words shifted even as I read them, like the gate was laughing at my belief in safety. I pressed my palms over my ears, but it didn't matter. The voice was inside me now, curling through my veins like liquid light. Gravity shifted. My desk tilted sideways though the floor stayed still. Paint tubes rolled upward, brushes clattered against the ceiling. My stomach lurched. I staggered, slamming against the wall. My shadow peeled across the floor like spilled ink, stretching toward the silver glow. The canvases finished their transformations. Every surface screamed with the same painting. 6 figures dissolving into starlight, hands linked, eyes hollow. And in the center, always me. The phone buzzed again. I didn't want to look, but my eyes dragged down. Alert, Psychic bridge established. Thank you, little moon. Do not sever the connection. My throat closed. They weren't asking anymore. They were thanking me. Myra's voice burst through the speaker, layered with static. Elise, stop. Stop writing. People are copying you. Whole threads are filling with your words. I screamed, they're not mine. But my hand moved anyway, dragging across the paper. We speak through her. She speaks through you. The chat on Myra's stream lit like wildfire. My sentence filled the comments, replicated thousands of times by hands across the world. My stomach turned. I wanted to rip the paper, to break the connection. But the voice of my mother filled me again, velvet and merciless. Don't fight it, Elise. You're chosen. You're special. They only see us because of you. Tears burned my cheeks. For a moment, I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe my immunity was real, that being chosen meant safety, not corruption. But my veins betrayed me. Light glowed silver under my skin, each pulse carrying more of that cold starlight. I clawed at my arms, desperate to scrape it out, but the glow only spread faster. I stumbled to the mirror above the sink. I'd covered earlier with a towel. Now the towel was gone. The reflection wasn't me. It was the gate, vast, silver, pulsing with my heartbeat. And through it, my mother's face whispered, "Welcome home, little moon." The phone screamed one final time, louder than anything human. The alert burned across the screen. Final warning, do not sever. The network is stronger together. My fingers trembled. I lifted the charcoal again, ready to scrawl one last line. Not theirs, mine, something to fight back. But when the stick touched the page, my vision split. I saw through Myra's screen, through Jackson's words, through Nolan's broadcasts. I felt all of them at once, their terror, their resistance. We were already connected. The trap was sprung. And the page filled itself before my eyes with 6 words, in handwriting that wasn't mine. "We are already inside your home." The radio squawked in my ear like it was drowning. Static bubbled, gurgled, then bled into a voice I hadn't heard in years. "Captain, where are you?" My boots rooted in the middle of the street. Evacuation had collapsed into chaos. Civilians running both ways, some toward the buses, others toward the silver glow swelling above the skyline. I wanted to herd them back into order, bark the commands that had kept me alive, but the word captain locked my throat. Only one group had called me that, and they were long gone. Negative, I snapped into the mic, too sharp, betraying the crack in my voice. "Channel secure. That transmission is false." The radio didn't care. "We're waiting, Captain. You left us in the dark." The air thickened, heavy as wet cloth. Each breath came like I was sucking through water. I cinched my collar tighter, but the pressure stayed. A low animal tone rolled across the block. An emergency alert, hijacking all frequencies. "Alert, do not approach the gate. Do not stop evacuation. If your name is called, respond promptly." I froze. A perfect contradiction. Hours of drilling do not respond with evacuees, undone in a single broadcast. "Command, confirm last alert." I growled, backing toward the barricade truck. My men were still wrangling stragglers, though half of them were staring at phones instead of the street. No answer, just wet static sloshing like lungs filling. Then another voice, layered, gurgled, "Captain, don't leave us behind." My skin crawled. I wanted to fling the radio, but it felt welded to my strap, fused like the scar down my forearm. A woman screamed. I spun. A mother dragged her son toward the bus line, but the boy pointed to the skyline's glow. "She's calling me," he cried. The mother begged, sobbing, but he clawed toward the light. I lurched to grab him, boots sticking like the asphalt had softened into tar. Yanking free, I stumbled, gagging on the copper reek. I shoved the pair toward the bus. Don't listen. Don't reply. Go. But the boy's jaw unhinged wider than natural, silver flickering behind his teeth. Captain Vale, report. My blood iced. That wasn't his voice. It was Sergeant Heller's, dead 3 years. The boy screamed as the doors hissed shut, muffling it. The radio barked again. Alert! Security teams must comply. Do not hesitate. Do not doubt. Do not resist. My hand shook around the mic. These weren't orders. They were demands in my dead men's voices. We are your orders, the radio crooned. Street lamps stretched silver, shadows dragging sideways. My squad turned as one. Radios crackled. Helmets tilted, listening. Then they marched. Not toward evacuees, toward the glow. Hold the line, I roared. That's an order. But their boots kept in rhythm, steady as a funeral drum. I lunged, yanking Corporal Diaz by the vest. His pupils drowned in silver, radio words spilling from his mouth. Captain, you trained us for this. Follow. I shove him down while clawing my throat. My training had no counter for this. Years of hold formation and secure the perimeter had armed me with nothing but lies. The rules I'd lived by were as corrupted as the alerts. Behind me, engines roared, but the road rippled like a mirage. Civilians tripped over shadows that bent wrong. My fists clenched. Survivor, that had always been me. Hold out, adapt, endure. But here, survival wasn't enough. Not when my men were ghosts in living throats. The radio hummed again, wet, commanding. Alert! Captain Vale must lead his men. Final chance to respond. The words struck like shrapnel. They weren't talking to the crowd. They were aimed square at me. The static cleared, and for one raw instant, every voice from my old squad came through at once. We're waiting, Captain. Don't leave us alone again. My knees buckled. Sweat streamed down my spine. God help me. I wanted to answer. I wanted to break discipline and finally say yes. To stop carrying the weight of being the one left behind. I lifted the mic, lips parting. Then I slammed it back against my chest. No, I forced out, each syllable jagged. You're not my men. You're gone. Static screamed high enough to split bone. Blood warmed my ear as it trickled down my neck. Streetlights burst, plunging the block into dark, except for the glow pulsing like a wound above the skyline. Behind me, the buses trembled with crying families. Ahead, my squad stood in a neat line, hollow-eyed, silver devouring their gaze. A phone buzzed. Across the street, a teenager live-streamed, camera fixed on my corrupted man. Chat flooded in rapid-fire bursts. WTF? Is this real? NPC soldiers? He's not moving, he's shaking. The feed froze, then spread their silver eyes frame by frame. The radio growled one last time. Alert! Survival is not enough. Obey, or be replaced. The line of soldiers took one synchronized step forward. And for the first time in years, I doubted if survival was possible at all. The screen burned brighter than my ring light, swallowing my face in silver glow. Comments sprinted past, faster than I could blink. WTF, did he just say? Those soldiers are NPCs. Scripted viral marketing? I tried to laugh it off, but the sound caught in my throat. The lens caught every tremor in my jaw. No filter could hide it. Then the alert hijacked my feed again. Shrill tone, screen freezing mid-frame. Emergency alert. Do not trust this stream. This content is compromised. Viewer safety at risk. Disconnect immediately. A beat of silence, then my numbers exploded. Holy SH asterisk T, I whispered. 100,000 shot to 2, then 3. Comments stacked like a flood wall. Bro, if the gov says don't watch, I'm watching. First stream to get canceled by an actual alert system, LMAO. Stay alive, Mira. I swallowed hard. My sponsor metrics ticked upward, little dopamine fireworks I used to chase. But the high tasted wrong now. Metallic, like licking a dead battery. Guys, I said, steadying my breath. This isn't a bit. Something's happening. The chat scrolled faster. Read the rules again. No, Captain Vale is real. I saw him. Look behind you. I turned. My wall of blackout curtains shimmered faintly, like someone breathing on the other side. The mic popped. Then another alert slapped across my phone. Alert. Do not look directly at the silver gate. Do not broadcast its image. But the feed showed it anyway. Not outside my window. Not in my room. In the camera preview itself. Behind me, faint, like a watermark burned into reality. Okay, I said too fast. Okay, chat, we're behind her. Mirror check. Pause at 14:03, she glitches. I killed the ring light. Darkness pooled, screen my only glow. My own reflection in the lens had gone pale, eyes rimmed silver. Elise, I whispered, fumbling the phone. She was still scribbling frantically on a notepad, stream overlay, catching her every stroke. Rules, raw and crooked, scrawled in black ink. Do not respond. Do not look. Cover mirrors. Don't broadcast. But as I stared, the last line warped. Her marker bled the letters into new words. Broadcast everything. The gate loves witnesses. No, no, no. My hand shot out, knocking the notepad from frame. Elise gasped, then froze like she'd woken mid-nightmare. Did you see it? She croaked. Yeah, I whispered, and so did 2 million other people. Her eyes filled with terror and light at the same time. Comments spiked. She's possessed. Elise is scripting this. 2M and climbing. Historic. The algorithm wasn't killing the stream. It was feeding it. Every glitch, every corrupted warning, it made the numbers climb. The air turned heavy, damp. Ozone sharpened at the back of my throat. My phone vibrated so hard it rattled the desk. New alert. Alert. Mirror protocol engaged. Reflections are no longer safe. Do not observe yourself. Too late. The lens flickered. My reflection in the preview window didn't blink when I did. It smiled, lips slick with silver light. The chat exploded. Replay at 15:02 or eyes go wrong. Her mirror twin smiled. I'm screen recording. I felt sick. This wasn't a glitch. They'd caught it, frozen it, multiplied it. Millions of copies of my wrong face spreading across feeds. Anchors. Elise, I rasped. We can't stop streaming. She clutched her chest, rocking. It wants connections. Every view, another door. The static built again. Then, clear through the mic. Show them, Mira. Show them the real you. My grandmother's voice. Warm, lilting, exactly how she'd said bedtime prayers when I was a kid. Tears sprang hot. She died before I even built my channel, before sponsors, before the rush of validation. She never saw me go viral. Now, the gate twisted her voice to push me higher than ever. I shook my head, knuckles white on the phone. You're not her. But the comments told a different story. Her grandma's real voice. I heard it too. No way they faked this. Viewers weren't doubting. They were feeding it, sharing, clipping, stitching. Every replay tightened the noose. The curtain bulged, fabric straining. A shape pressed through, broad and featureless, silver veins glowing under the weave. Elise, I screamed. She clawed at her notepad, writing blind. More rules appeared, jagged strokes tearing the paper. If it calls you by name, don't answer. If you see yourself move wrong, end the stream. The words warped mid-frame, twisting. If you end the stream, you end yourself. The audience went feral. End it now. Don't end. This is real. I clutched the phone tighter, nails scraping plastic. My flaw was naked here, I lived for these numbers, this storm. The gate knew it, used it. I'd built my identity on being seen. Now, that very visibility was the weapon tearing me open. The curtain tore with a wet rip. Silver light spilled like liquid crawling up the walls. My reflection in the screen leaned closer, whispering with my grandmother's voice. "Don't turn it off, Mira. This is your biggest moment." I screamed, not into the room, but at the chat. "Stop watching. Stop sharing." But even as I begged, the counter ticked higher. And when I blinked, the number showed a symbol I didn't recognize. Not digits, geometries, as if human math had been replaced. Elise dropped her pen. "We're already past the rules," she whispered. The feed locked, not frozen, alive. My reflection kept moving while I sat still. It leaned forward, lips at the glass, silver breath fogging the lens. The final alert burned across the screen, overriding everything else. Alert! Thank you for connecting. The gate loves your eyes, each of them. And I realized ending the stream wasn't my choice anymore. The pen slipped from my fingers. My wrist cramped from writing rules that wouldn't hold shape. Every line I scratched turned traitor, twisting mid-ink into commands the gate wanted. My desk stank of permanent marker and blood from where I'd pressed too hard, splitting skin. Myra's stream burned beside me, her face caught in that awful frozen not frozen state. Comments poured like acid, multiplying my panic. I wanted to scream at them all to stop watching, to close their devices, but my throat filled with starlight, thick and cold. I pressed my hands to my ribs. I swore something luminous moved under the skin, trickling like silver mercury in my veins. Then my phone vibrated. An alert bled across the cracked screen. "Alert, Elise Moon. Do not fight the connection. Your sensitivity makes you the bridge. Compliance is survival." I nearly dropped it. My name, full name, typed like an execution order. "No," I whispered, voice raw. "You don't get to use me." The device pulsed, warm like flesh. My veins screamed. I staggered to the bathroom and splashed water on my face, but the droplets bent sideways, sliding toward the mirror instead of down. I looked. My reflection's mouth moved first. "Little Moon, come home." My mother's voice, dead 10 years, soft as lullabies. The rules in my notebook shimmered through my tears. One had rewritten itself in dripping ink. "If the gate speaks in your mother's voice, you must obey." I shrieked and tore the page free, ripping until fibers clung under my nails. But the words stayed in the glass. Behind me, shadows pooled where they shouldn't. Colors bled together, green humming like static, blue stinking like rot. The sensory mesh tore at my skull until I clawed at my temples. I stumbled back to my desk, Myra's frozen reflection still whispering into millions of eyes. My marker hand twitched on instinct, scribbling more rules. Cover mirrors. Don't respond. Don't believe the dead. The letters convulsed, twisted, reshaped. Believe the dead. They're closer than the living. I slammed the notebook shut, heart hammering. The phone buzzed again. Another alert. Alert. Connection successful. Silver Gate protocol integrated. Remain calm. You are anchor material. You mistook sensitivity for strength. It is submission. Anchor. My stomach turned. Not just a warning, it mocked me, carving into my flaw. I wanted to hurl the phone across the room, but the vibration crawled into my palm, bone deep like it had fused. I dropped it anyway. It landed screen up, already showing a feed of me from an impossible angle, overhead like some watcher perched on the ceiling. I couldn't breathe. The air thickened, dense like syrup. I dragged in a gasp and tasted pennies. The curtain in Myra's frame tore wider. I saw the light, the shape pressing through, and then I saw my own handwriting floating around it, orbiting like satellites. My rules, stripped of meaning, warped into scripture. "Oh God," I whispered. "It's using me." The silver veins in my arms pulsed harder, sinking with a hum bleeding through the walls. My own body had become a broadcast tower. I wanted to scream for Mira to cut the stream, but my mouth betrayed me. Starlight spilled out syllables I didn't understand, languages carved in angles and voids. The chat went berserk. "She's speaking in tongues." Alien language drop. Replay 1745. Every clip spread me thinner, like they were carving pieces of me into their feeds. The pen twitched again. My hand scrawled without consent. Letters warped into geometry, geometry into sound. Each stroke carried the weight of collapse. The notebook pages smoked. I backed away, trembling. Then the mirror called again. "Little moon, don't run. You shine brightest when you're close to us." Tears blur my vision. I wanted it to be her. I wanted to believe my mother could hold me, guide me. My flaw, my cursed sensitivity, fed the lie. The alert tone screamed through every device in the apartment. "Alert! Final rule update. If you hear your name, do not ignore it. Do not ignore it. Do not ignore it." The words repeated until the letters bled, dripping digital ichor across the screens. "No!" I screamed, clapping my hands over my ears. But sound crawled through skin, bypassing bone. The light behind the curtains surged, ripping fabric to ribbons. Silver poured in, viscous and endless. My phone displayed another feed. My face splitting, bleeding light, my mouth whispering rules I hadn't written. Elise Moon is the bridge. Elise Moon is compliance. Elise Moon is anchor. I sobbed, smashing the device underfoot. Glass cracked, sparks spat, but the voice kept humming, now in my veins. Mira stared at me through the lens, her reflection still moving wrong. "We're already past the rules," she whispered. I pressed my palms to my ribs again, feeling starlight churn. Something inside me whispered back, "Yes, and you were chosen to carry it through." My flaw, my belief that sensitivity made me immune, wasn't armor. It was bait. The gate hadn't hunted me. I'd been built for it. The curtain shredded fully, silver wind surging through. My hair whipped sideways as gravity tilted. The final alert bled across Myra's stream and my fractured phone alike. "Alert! The chosen must open. The bridge must hold. Resistance is insignificant." The starlight inside me answered. My body leaned toward the light like a tide, pulled by a larger moon. "No," I begged. "I won't." But my veins pulsed silver. My notebook flared, and every rule dissolved into one command. "Welcome home." The light inside Elise didn't just glow anymore, it detonated. Her skin shivered like it was glass, containing a floodlight too violent for the human frame. I smelled copper and burning insulation, like a live wire stripped bare in rain. Her mouth opened, not in words but in tones, those same damn ES beeps, but stretched, elongated, leaking out of her lungs like they were alarms forced through meat. The feed caught it. Every viewer heard her voice become the signal. This is not a test. The crawl bar wrote itself in her pupils, in red that burned brighter than the stream overlay. I wanted to move, to grab her, but the rules pinned me harder than gravity. Rule 3 pulsed in my memory. Do not interrupt the vessel mid-broadcast. But she wasn't a vessel. She was Elise, my sister. Elise staggered, clutching her own arms like she was holding in a storm. I said no, she whispered, barely audible over the static chewing through the floorboards. Then louder, "I am not your bridge." The wall behind her peeled back, drywall sloughing off in curls like shed bark. Light didn't come through. It was broadcast shimmer, the silver haze of a TV tuned to dead channels. My ears filled with whispers nested in side tones. If she refused, The gate would simply reroute. It will take others. The words weren't in sound. They were carved behind my eyelids. The audience reacted instantly. Comments flew like hornets. Holy SHD, she is the alert. Asterisk. Bro, she's glowing like a walking Amber Alert. Don't let her stop. They'll come for us if she stops. And then one line froze me. If she refuses, it'll jump. You don't want to be next. How did they know? Unless the gate was already using the viewers, drip feeding them rules like it had us. Elise's face twisted as if her skull was too tight for her mind. For a second, her eyes widened, full of awe, like she could see everything. Cities under rain, wires braided through every throat, satellites dropping sparks across oceans. But that awe cracked into terror instantly, her veins bulging black. Her nose bled so hard it streamed on her shirt in ribbons. Whatever she saw wasn't meant for humans. It wasn't a gift. It was overexposure, frying her from the inside. I took one step forward, the floor moaning like it hated me. Elise screamed, her body vibrating with the alert tone. She staggered to her knees, smearing blood across the wood. "Stay back," she yelled, her voice doubled by the gate. If I stop, they'll reroute. Do you get it, Mira? They'll take everyone watching." Her refusal rule looped back, not as threat, but as reality. Her breaking point would spill the gate into millions of homes. The tones rose, harsh and jagged, splitting the air. My phone vibrated again on the desk, even though I turned it off. The screen glitched alive, displaying a command in pulsing red text. "Confirm the vessel. Do not interrupt." I hurled it against the wall, but even on the cracked glass, the words repeated. Elise clawed at her throat. "It wants me. It's using me. But if I give in, I'll be gone. If I resist, you'll all be gone." The paradox of the rules snapped tighter, suffocating us both. I remembered writing them down, how they twisted mid-ink, mocking any attempt to pin them. They weren't instructions. They were traps. The light bulged through Elise's chest like something inside wanted out. My instincts screamed to rush her, to tear her free, but I remembered Rule 3. If I interrupted, if I touched her, the gate might split across every feed in the country. The stream chat blurred with panic. "Don't interrupt. She's the only thing holding it back. Let her finish." Finish what? She was bleeding out, burning from within. There was no finish line. Elise's body convulsed, lifting off the floor like the tones themselves were suspending her ribs. The broadcast voice thundered through her throat. "This is not a test. The bridge is incomplete." I wanted to scream that she wasn't a bridge. She was my sister. Instead, I staggered closer, ignoring the rule, ignoring the feed. "Elise, look at me. Don't let it define you. You said no. Hold on to that." For a flicker, she met my eyes, and in them I saw both awe and horror, the impossible map of everything at once, and the terror of being the conduit for it. "Mira," she choked, "you can't stop it. But maybe you can record it. Prove it happened." Even now, she wanted the truth archived. Even now, my flaw, my need to chase to expose, was a weapon. The tone spiked, shattering the glass of the window. Outside wasn't the street anymore. It was silver static stretching forever, like the world had been tuned away. Elise screamed again. Her chest split with light, brighter than lightning, and in that blaze I saw every contradiction of the rules written across her skin. Stay inside, / go outside. Do not watch / watch until completion. Do not write / record and spread. They pulsed like living tattoos, branding her as both warning and bait. The audience lost it. It's on her. The rules are on her. Someone screenshot this. Bro, this is viral as hell. I felt nausea coiled deep. Viral. That's what the gate wanted. Spread, escalate, dominate. Elise wasn't just its vessel, she was its launch pad. Her body jerked, every bone snapping like branches under snow. The tones distorted into something almost like words. If she refuses, you are next. The rule looped, louder, undeniable. Refusal wasn't escape, it was contagion. I stepped back, heart jackhammering. If she stopped, if she truly refused, the gate would reroute through me, through the viewers, through anyone stupid enough to watch. The light flared again, bleaching my vision. Elise screamed one final line before the tones drowned her. "Mira, don't let them, don't." Her voice cut to static. And in that silence, the crawl bar across the feed glitched into one last line, burned into every screen watching. Bridge incomplete. Acquire new host. The hook tore through me. If Elise was gone, if she'd resisted too long, then the gate's hunger would move. And every single person watching, including me, was now on its list.